Zil scheme lives in the regions, the frozen northern uniforms of Alaska, and Siberia and others. This bird, when it comes to it, winter is doing a need in the end of the strangeness. He travels from his place and goes to another place. You will say, I have a normal need. I will tell you that. The strange thing is that it does not travel from a city to the second. There is no country for this second, traveling a second continent, completely cut off the Jadbour, a distance, 13,000 kilometers in migration by his goods, traveling from Alaska in the far north of New Zealand. A distance is a distance by all standards and makes the trip. This every year. But this is not strange in the matter. The strange thing is that the birds are most of the time. They will make this trip for the first time. I mean, they originally do not know anything about the path. They are going to bed before that. But despite, so they can reach New Zealand with great accuracy. And their age is never what they left, and do not go to a mistake. Fitry, they will do this. How are you? But how are you? The migrant birds remained estimated to determine the place. Whoever traveled for accuracy. This is welcome, Jadbour. But before we start, if it is not new in the channel, you do not forget to work as a sugar, the bell, so that our first PAL videos will receive you. In the seasons of each year you get one from the strangest natural phenomena ever. Birds abandoned, many types of birds, the places where they live and go. The second places are pure, and the topic is happening in a way basic in the winter, when the winter season starts, specifically in the northern regions. Sources start eating the plants to crease with frozen insects. The worms are considered a basic food source. For a number of birds, they also prepare them gradually in front of them, a second solution. But they are traveling for second places. The climate is moderate, and there is eating there, and there they spend a month, to some extent, the winter in the homeland. The original is giving up, and their dilla in their teeth, and they return to their home once. Second, but of course the issue is not that simple. Because the birds escape the winter in the place what they are in, and at the same time go in somewhere. The second moderate temperature means that they need to travel from the northern hemisphere for the southern hemisphere. The brook we talked about has been trampled about him in the first episode. His journey takes 11 days of continuous non-stop flying. Is an amazing effort by all standards, especially since his trip is above the Pacific Ocean, means water that surrounds you from everything. A place where there is no land on which he can rest. This topic made people not believe in the idea in the past. Aristo, for example, believed that birds migrate. The swallow bird hides in cavities or holes during the winter. Other people thought birds bury themselves in the mud and enter slumber. Even in the early 18th century, in books, an idea was engraved in the utmost madness, which is belief in the winter. Birds come to live on the moon, but of course through observation and photography. Air, satellites and navigation devices, and others confirm beyond reasonable doubt that migratory birds actually travel long distances. This is a huge problem. Now there is a question to be asked. The same when birds travel all these distances, how can they go to their destination direct without anything? He gets lost. Researchers say they have birds, something similar to the sixth sense, the feeling that leaves them. They can see the magnetic field of a planet Earth, and through magnetic field lines, they can reach anywhere they want to go easily. This belief stems from the fact that there is protein, a certain name called cryptochrome, is located in oil, birds and some other animals. This protein makes their eyes sensitive to the Earth's magnetic field. Was the bird and it in this atmosphere, you will see things that we do not. You can see a complete map of lines and roads. A drawing is drawn in front of him through which he can determine his directions in every way. What is surprising is that researchers found that, during migration seasons, the amount of this protein increases greatly. In the eyes of birds, it reaches more than 2 times more. The normal rate, of course, helps them. They interact with the magnetic field more efficiently and determine their path more accurately. Is this cryptochrome protein a solution? Puzzle. Actually, no set of studies. It has been proven that the cryptochrome protein only works when the lighting is low. It means 1,000 times dusk, but otherwise it is not working efficiently. At the same time, birds are in high and low days, shining on each other. It remains flying in the sky. It is normal and determines directions easily. This means that they use other means during the day. Change cryptoprotein crumb. Researchers, during the studies they conducted, they concluded that birds can determine directions through the sky as humans used to do in the past. They determine the place they are in and know their way is through celestial bodies like the sun, the stars, and this theory says that birds look for crimes during their flight. Then they decide whether they are going to the north or not, the south, and so on. In the 60s of the last century, a group of researchers brought migratory birds. They put them in a room, and the ceiling of the room was a planetarium that mimics the shape of the stars inside the sky. And at the time of the migration season, they put ink on their feet and followed him into the room. And when they followed traces with their feet on the ground, they noticed that the birds were heading the same direction as specific stars in the sky. And why change the position of these stars in the heavenly dome? Those in this room found that the birds changed its direction is with the same change that they made. This is what made them conclude that birds are dependent on certain stars in determining directions, and they are. In 2001, I conducted a study on a group of the birds. They noticed that the tracks that the birds move in it in accordance with the direction. The Sun described the topic in the study as birds use a compass umbrella. Birds also depend on their journey, prompted by smell. In 2017, a team of researchers disrupted. He was temporarily stimulated by smell at a group of birds, the marine birds, which are the sandpipers, brought these birds. They washed their nasal passages with a substance, a harmless chemical, which is zinc sulfate, and those with it disabled his sense of smell, and then after that, tracked birds using GPS devices. They noticed that the birds were flying on the roof. The sea. They were very confused and had difficulty in determine trends compared to their colleague who does not. They underwent the experiment, and from here they concluded that his sense smell plays an important role in migratory birds identify trends, and not only that, it is among the methods used by researchers. They believe that birds use it, especially birds that migrate relatively short distances. Birds rely on clear landmarks. It is in front of them, as if they are traveling in parallel, for a specific beach coast or for a specific mountain range, or they prefer to fly over a certain river and that remains the same, their path, especially since their sense of sight. Birds are very strong. General, now we know how birds can identify the path you will walk on, but how do you determine it? The date in which the answer is supposed to migrate. This question can be summed up in one sentence. Our biological clock as humans. We take tests for many functions in our body. We sleep at times and wake up when we feel good. Due to hunger and other needs, migratory birds remained. She has the exact same issue at the